What's going on, everyone? So Victor Wembanyama said this about Rudy Gobert potentially winning the Defensive Player of the Year. Let him win it now, because after that, it's no longer his turn. Now, I love this. I absolutely love this. I love these type of, from the young guys, like, I'm coming. And the reason I love it is because Victor Wembanyama actually has a real case, right? He's not just talking just to talk. There is a genuine argument for Victor Wembanyama to win Defensive Player of the Year this season. If San Antonio was better, he probably would win it. But, Rudy, before all the injuries and stuff like that, he was on the number one seed in the Western Conference, the best defensive team in the league, right? Like, Rudy is best defensive rating in the league. Like, there's a lot of reasons why Rudy Gobert is and very likely will win Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think he's the best defensive player in the league, if I'm being honest, but a lot of times Defensive Player of the Year doesn't really go to the best defensive player. It's just usually like who is the kind of key cog on the best defensive team, kind of usually how it goes, right? Like, great example is like Anthony Davis, right? However you feel about Anthony Davis, however you feel about the Lakers, even when Anthony Davis was on the Pelicans, he had like historically great defensive runs and defensive ratings and things like that, and he's never won a Defensive Player of the Year, right? Like, those kind of things are like, that's odd, right? Or like when, you see a guy like Marc Gasol won Defensive Player of the Year over like LeBron James, who had a historically great defensive season. Like, those kind of things, it's one of those awards where it's like, does it always go to the right guy, right? Victor Wembanyama, again, he's a guy that very likely could run away and win 5, 6, 7, 8 Defensive Player of the Year trophies. The guy is ridiculous on the defense side, leading leagues in stocks. Like, this guy is putting up like historic defensive stats. I know I've said that like 10 times already in this video, but no, like, Victor Wembanyama is just absolutely special on that side. Just the ground that he covers, using his size, his length, his versatility on the defensive side, being able to switch out on the perimeter, being able to just be a deterrent at the rim. It's unlike anything we've seen outside of like maybe Anthony Davis and Giannis. The guy is ridiculous. He's leading the league in blocks. He's 18th in the league in steals, which, again, he is a center. Like, you look at that list, it's all like guards and forwards, right? Now, you do have like Jokic in it, but outside of that, Victor is doing it all. He's number one in stocks, which is blocks and steals, right? He, in comparison to Rudy Gobert has a 104.2 defensive rating this season, right? Victor Wembanyama has a 107.3. Now, you might think, oh, well, Victor is 3 points worse than Rudy Gobert. But Victor Wembanyama is also on one of the worst defensive teams in the league this season, right? Where Rudy is on one of the best defensive teams in the league this season. It's not even comparable. The efficiency he has on the defensive side of things, this guy is going to run away with multiple. If he doesn't win, at least, assuming he continues to play the way that he's playing, if he doesn't win at least like 5 Defensive Player of the Year trophies, I don't know what to think of that award, right? I understand he's a rookie. I understand that, he has a long career ahead of him, but like, let's say he should start winning it as soon as next year, like literally. And on top of that, him just being clearly by far the best player, the best rookie, absolutely dominant on both sides of the basketball. Not only is he leading the league in blocks with 3.4, he's averaging 1.3 steals a game, but he's giving you basically 21 points, 10.3 rebounds. He's shooting 80% from the foul line, 52% EFG, 52.9% from 2-point range on 11 attempts. He's shooting 33% from 3-point range, which for a big man is good, but I do expect him to continue to improve in that. I could see him genuinely being like, I wouldn't be shocked if he's like a 38 to 40% three-point shooter. I mean, this guy's versatility, his ability to handle the ball like a guard, cross guys up, use his size and his length to finish over the top. I mean, Victor he really is an alien. He is something truly special. And I'm excited for his just potential. Like, I think absolute worst case scenario for Victor Wembanyama, as far as like where he'll be as far as a basketball player goes, I think he'll be at bare minimum the best defensive player in the league, like year in and year out. Like, obviously, voter fatigue and stuff like that is a thing. Like, I don't think Victor is going to win. Let's say he plays 20 seasons, he wins 19 defensive player of the years. That I don't think he will, but I do think, let's say he plays 20 seasons, I absolutely could see him winning 5, 6, 7 plus, right? Like, there's going to be years where they just give it to other players just to give it to other players. But Victor's, he's going to earn a couple. But that's just what's great about him is obviously the sky's the limit as far as the offensive side of things. But in a league that is so offensive focused, right, you still have to be able to stop people, right? Like, Denver was kind of the outlier as far as like a mostly offensive team, because Denver was kind of like just middle of the pack defensively. But every other year, besides like Denver last year, and they just have like Jokic, who's like a one-man offensive engine by himself, you need to have defense to win. Right? Like, and even the teams that went the far, like the Lakers last year, were number one defense in the playoffs. They're in the conference finals. Again, they lost Denver, but that's how it goes. Miami, one of the best defensive teams in the playoffs. Boston was one of the best defensive teams. Boston last year was the only team top 5 in offense and defense. Guess what? They were in the conference finals, right? Like, outside of Denver, everyone that was in the conference finals were all top defensive teams, because you still need defense. You still need to be able to stop the opposing players on the other team, right? Like, so having Victor and his ability to do that, and because he can make up so much ground, it gives you a luxury that most teams, actually really none outside of 2 in my opinion, have. The only 2 teams that I think can kind of get away with not having like multiple elite defensive guys is the Milwaukee Bucks because of Giannis, and you're seeing that. Like, Boston is not very good defensively this season, or Milwaukee is not very good defensively this season, but Giannis really kind of makes up for a lot of the lack of defense, and then Brook Lopez kind of helps also. But you look at the Lakers, right? Lakers with Anthony Davis, the ground that he covers, right? Like, Lakers go from middle of the pack to, they add a guy in like a Jared Vanderbilt, and all of a sudden they're the best defensive team in the league, right? Like, because Anthony Davis covers so much ground. So to put Victor into that category, because he can cover so much ground, I mean, we've seen it. We've seen him out on the perimeter, and then all of a sudden he like teleports because he's so long and lengthy, and he's under the basket blocking a shot. And you're just like, how did this guy do that? But because of that defensive versatility, you just have the luxury of surviving more on the defensive side than some of these other teams, right? So you don't have the need of like, we have to get 4 other elite defensive guys or 3 other elite defensive guys. Like, you only need really 1 or 2. You need that like point of attack defensive athletic defender out on the perimeter. Ideally, you get like a legit 3-and-D guy, and you're probably going to be one of the best, if not the best defensive teams in the league. Because again, Victor just covers so much ground on the defensive side. So like, let's say you can get like, let's say it's even a 2 guard, right? That can defend out on the perimeter and kind of switch and just really be a point of attack. And then you add, say, like a 3-and-D type guy. Like, just names that popped into my head. Like, if you could get like a KCP and like a Dorian Finney-Smith, right? Those 2 guys are very good 3-and-D style guys. They're not like a Jaden McDaniels type guy, but they are very good, right? So if you could have two guys like that, I think you're the best defensive team in the league. Because Victor Wembanyama, again, can hold and handle so much on that side of the basketball. And now you have two guys that can help defend out on the perimeter. So Victor doesn't have to extend out so frequently. He can kind of just patrol the paint. And you're not scoring on him inside with that. Like, he's got like a 8-foot wingspan. Like, and he's got like a 10-foot standing reach or something ridiculous like that. Like, good luck. How do you score on that guy? So I fully buy in and subscribe to what Victor said there about like, get your trophy now and enjoy it because this is it. Like, I'm coming, taking over. I'm the best defensive player in the league. And again, he very well might be. Now, look, Rudy and Victor are both friends. Like, you know, I added this image that you see on screen simply because, you know, I want people to understand. Like, this wasn't like oh, Rudy's trash. Like, this wasn't like trash talk. Like, this is like, hey, I am coming, right? Like, Rudy is the best defensive player in the league, but now I'm here. Or he was the best defensive player in the league, right? Like, it's one of those things. It's just competition. I love it. But it's not like ill blood or anything like that. Like, these are two French guys that excellent defensive guys, right? So, but I mean, again, Rudy has nowhere near the defensive versatility that Victor has. Rudy is nowhere near the potential that Victor has on the defense. I mean, Victor could go down as the greatest defensive player ever. And I don't think that that's a far-fetched statement. Given what we've seen this year, again, he's a rookie. He hasn't even gotten and grown into his man body. He hasn't even understood and develop that NBA timing and that understanding, right? That you see guys develop as they get into their later years, right? Like, he's out there on just pure instinct and talent. Imagine what happens when he starts developing that grown man body and he starts building out a little bit. I don't know if he'll ever be like, you know, Dwight Howard yoked or anything like that, but, you know, I do think he'll develop a little more strength, be able to be a little more physical, be able to handle physicality more, right? Be able to kind of bump guys off a little bit, right? And then as he develops that just more and better understanding of, you know, situational awareness and positioning and timing and stuff. I mean, you're going to, it is terrifying to think about how good defensively Victor's going to be. I mean, it's impressive already, and it's only going to get more. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts on Victor Wembanyama on the defense side? What do you think of the statement in regards to Rudy Gobert potentially winning it this year? Again, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.